well, that repair didn't last long. Alright, so here's the situation. So originally, when I redid the van and put the new water pump, did everything that you saw in the last video, I put a NAPA water pump in. And this was supposed to be one of their higher end water pumps. It cost me quite a bit of money. And unfortunately, after 2 days of using the van after I fixed it, I noticed that it was leaking out of the weep hole. So we're going to take the NAPA Crappa out, and we're going to replace it with a genuine Ford part. This I got from the Ford dealership, is a Motorcraft water pump, so hopefully it will be much higher quality. And typically, you know, the funny thing is typically auto parts parts are cheaper than OEM parts. Not in the case. This one was actually more expensive because I tried to buy the high-end one than this one. So anyways, we get to do a water pump again. Alright, so the hardest part about doing this job right now is having to redrain the radiator fluid. Now, luckily I kind of devised a method when I put it back together this last time to be able to recapture the radiator fluid without having it just kind of spill all over the ground like it does when you use the regular drain. It's not perfect. I lost some, very little, but I was able to capture most of it, which is good because, you know, buying radiator fluid all over again can be expensive. Alright, so now it's time to start disassembling the motor. Now, it shouldn't be nearly the shit show that it was last time because I know I just had the water pump off and I know none of the bolts that are on there are going to be froze up like they were before. So I should be able to access the water pump just right over the motor here without taking the whole front end off. So we're going to start working on that, get everything off so that we can get to that water pump. Alright guys, so here's the water pump that I had put in. This is the NAPA pump. Now it's kind of hard to see here, but here's where the weep hole is, and this is here by design for water pumps so that radiator fluid can leak out of it if it needs to, but it shouldn't be coming out in any massive quantities. In my case, every time I started the van and started running it, it would just drip from here, and you can kind of maybe see the stain on the water pump here, where you can see where it's just dripping out of here. And typically if you have a water pump and you see it dripping a lot, like even if it's an older one, see it dripping a lot, then that's your indication that it's time to change the water pump, because what's going to happen is the seal is failing inside there, and apparently there is like a greased seal in here for this to spin on, and once that seal fails, then water kind of gets inside the other seal and it starts to cause this all to fail. So anyways, if you see water coming from one of your weep holes, there's actually two of them on this pump. There's one on top and then there's one on the bottom. That's a good indication that it's time to change your water pump, that it's gonna fail soon. So anyways, out with this one. Let's get this new OEM one in. Alright, so we're going to get ready to put this new pump in. I've already got the gasket put on there, and I put just a thin coat of gasket maker on as well, just to help hold the gasket in place, since I'm going to be putting it on from the side. I don't want it to like slip or fall and then I mess up the gasket putting the bolts in. Also, I've got my can of anti-seize copper grease. A lot of you guys recommended that in the old video, or at least some type of anti-seize, and I did use this when I put it together, but we're going to go ahead and just recoat all the bolts one more time just to make sure that we don't end up with a problem, since we had to pull them once. Alright, so we got the new water pump all installed. I still got a few things, some plumbing and plumbing to put together here, the air intake and all that. But I want to be able to check the van for leaks and make sure that everything is going to be good first. But first we have to actually put some radiator fluid back in. So I've got my jug where I captured the core of the radiator fluid that came out. I've got my radiator fill kit, which I talked about in the last video, but I didn't really show you guys how it works. So real quick is this little unit here creates a venturi. This is just air coming from my air compressor, which is coming from my van right now. It goes through here, creates a vacuum on the system, kind of sucks all the lines down, and then I can check the system and make sure that it holds vacuum for a period of time to make sure that I don't have any major leaks. Once I know that everything's good, I can shut this valve, open this valve, and it will suck radiator fluid right out of this jug right into the radiator. And this kind of helps with systems that have areas that easily get air pockets. Now, I don't think the old van gets too bad. Like the heater core can be a problem sometimes trying to get the air bubble out of that. But that's where this kind of comes in, is it basically sucks it into all those little areas and helps kind of alleviate those air pockets. Now in the end, once it's done, I still usually find, or like the last time I used it, found that I still needed to top off just a little bit here, but not too much. Anyways, it's going to get noisy here for a second. I'm going to create the vacuum, so as soon as I turn this on, you're going to hear this go, and the air compressor is going to come on, so it's going to get loud. This is just air escaping. Alright guys, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to thank Jackery, who's the sponsor of this video. Now Jackery's been a sponsor of the channel for a long time. I've been using these Jackeries for lots of things over the course of the past few years. We've been using them a lot here in the shop because this technically isn't a shop, it's an RV storage unit. So it only has one AC outlet, which is super inconvenient, but we use the Jackeries all over the shop. Megan uses them in her van, she uses them over there to run things. I'll take them outside and run heat guns and different units when I've got the van parked outside. But they're just super useful. I mean, they're great for overlanding, they're great for van life, they're great for having just an emergency backup power if you lose power for your house. So if you've been looking at one of these and thinking that you want to add one of these to either your overland van life system or just for emergency preparedness, you need to be looking at Amazon on the 11th and 12th. Amazon's going to have a big sale for 11th and 12th, and Jackery is definitely participating. In fact, this particular unit here, which is the 2000, is going to be 30% off on those days. So if you guys have been thinking about putting the Jackery in your system, that is the days to be looking and making your order, because you're going to save a bunch of cash. So anyways guys, really appreciate everything that Jackery does for the channel, keeping the videos coming and going out to you guys. So if you've been looking at one of these, check Amazon on the 11th and 12th. Check my description down below. I got all the direct links, all the sale information. So definitely check the description down below. Anyhow, let's get back to working on the van. Alright guys, well, things went kind of sideways yesterday after I put the radiator fluid in. Last thing you guys saw in the video was me pressure testing the system and making sure everything was going to be all right. I did find a leak coming from this fitting here on the old radiator, and I thought it was just a little bit loose, so I went to go tighten it, and the more I tightened it, the more it leaked. I ended up having to drain the radiator completely out, and then after I inspected this port, I found that the port itself was cracked. I'm going to assume that maybe I just torqued it down too much, because these radiators unfortunately are pretty cheaply made these days. They're all plastic housings, and even though there is a brass insert in this, it was just the brass insert was cracked, the plastic was cracked. And so anyways, had to kind of shut things down yesterday, order a new radiator from NAPA, which was supposed to be here by noon today, but they never made the order. So I had to drive a town over to get the radiator from another town. I tried to get one from Ford. Ford said they couldn't get me one because it's just out of, they don't make them anymore for the Sasquatch or for the year of my van. So anyways, we're finally back. We're back in the shop. I've already taken the time to start tearing apart the van, and I've got pretty much the old radiator ready to come out. I just didn't undo the transmission fittings. yet, just mainly because I didn't want to be leaking transmission fluid all night. So we're going to do that real quick, get that out, and get this radiator in. But yeah, I'll take responsibility for this. I must have over torqued it. So yeah, there's a $350 mistake right there. Okay, so last time I pulled the van out and we quit the video, but this time we're going to give it a couple days. Alright guys, well, as you can see, we are out enjoying a beautiful view up in the mountains here. Megan's with me here with her van, and we are actually headed our way to go visit my niece. We're going to do that, but I thought we'd make a quick stop last night and camp in this beautiful location and enjoy at least one night. But as you can see, since we're out here, that the van seems to be doing good. The new water pump is working as it should. The new radiator is working and holding, and I think we're finally good to go. So that makes me very happy. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Look forward to finally getting out and doing some camping videos. Me and Megan are going to do some exploring next week. I'm meeting up with Donald the week after that for some exploring in the Oahe, so look forward to that. So we got a lot of outdoor recreation getting ready to come your guys' way. I do have one more short shot video that I'm going to share with you guys between then, but other than that, we are headed out for some fun exploring. So anyways, guys, if you like this video, please do give it a like. If you have any comments or questions, leave those down below, and we'll catch you guys again outside.